Hi, everyone. Welcome to Fans of the Framework Live. I'm here today with a special guest, Tish Wayne. Tish is the nursing leader, OB manager at Grant Regional Hospital in Lancaster, Wisconsin. Welcome, Tish.
Thank you, Jane. Good morning.
Good
Glad.
morning. Tish and I are going to talk directly about direct dialogue. And Tish, you have long been one of my favorite nursing leaders. You just always have this get her done attitude every time I've seen you personally and hear about you from your executives. And I think our audience will recognize that as well. So I want to open with a quote about coaching and leadership and mentoring and call outs and compliments and everything that rolls up into direct dialogue. And the quote is this: criticism, like rain, should be gentle enough to nourish a person's growth without destroying their roots. Criticism, like rain, should be gentle enough to nourish a person's growth without destroying their roots. I just love that. The quote is anonymous. I have no idea who wrote it, but I love it. And I think that your leadership style is going to fit right in with it. And we'll get to you in a moment. But first, I just want to portray for our audience, can you even imagine a place where there's no not I don't even like the word criticism like the quote said, but no coaching, no mentoring, no stopping someone before they make a mistake, or no telling anyone, hey, what you did the other day was really offensive to those people around you. You may not realize it. Like, what if there was nothing, no feedback, no feedback loop? To me, I just imagine chaos. I mean, literally chaos reigning and a ton of, narcissistic people running around, like, hey, I must be good, right? Nobody's telling me I'm not, so I'm all good. So chaos. So direct dialogue is one of those topics that we get requested often to teach and reteach and coach people on. And the reason why is it causes such tension that people desire feedback. Everyone in the universe desires to know how they're doing, and as a leader, you're the person to tell them, right? We believe it should be everyone, like omnidirectional feedback, but for the most part, it's a leader's job to coach, never stop coaching. By the same token, people want to be appreciated just as they are. So there's this tension. I want feedback, but then I don't. I want feedback, but then I don't. So, and the thing is leaders feel the tension too, because they're the same way. Like, I'm going to ask my senior leader for feedback on my performance, but I really don't want them to tell me anything negative. I want it to only be positive, right? So leaders struggle because we can relate. So Tish, when I reached out to your CNO, Tammy, to your HR leader, Stacy, to your CEO, David, all three resoundingly, without hesitation, Tish Wayne needs to talk to fans of the framework in the Capstone Nation about direct dialogue. Why did they choose you? Why Tish Wayne?
Why? Quite a compliment. That I've taken direct dialogue after learning it through our leadership bundle. Our supervisor, peri-op supervisor, was the kind of the content expert, and she presented to our nursing in-service, our nursing group. And we decided, I co-manage with two other leaders for our nursing team, ED, MedSurg, OB, and we decided that our whole staff is hearing this, and we want to roll it out to our new hires too. So not only have I been a part of it as far as the leadership team, but also our nursing group. And then now with every new hire, I'm in charge of providing direct dialogue education to them. So I have, read a lot about it. I review it all the time because, we've increased our staffing. So we've had 10 to 12 new hires in the last year. And we've been doing this for over a year. I think it was like last spring of 21 when so I think just with my repetitive, going through it, and I've had to have lots of challenging conversations, in the past couple of years because of our staff turnover and just different issues we've had. I probably have just been exposed to it a lot. I feel like it's something that the more you practice and do, it does get, it's never super comfortable maybe, but you do get a
Right.
little when you are meeting with somebody to have
Sure.
different with him.
Absolutely. And if you're going to be asked to teach it to new leaders, you better role model it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It's not like you can take our book and turn to page 76 or whatever and say, here, just read this, right? You have to role model it.
Yes, definitely.
So what have you had greater success with, like coaching to technical issues or coaching to behaviors?
Definitely coaching to behaviors. I
Mhm.
feel like the technical, the skills, someone maybe being tardy, those types of coaching are measurable. And really, you can't argue with that because it's factual. You punched in 10 minutes late, 3 days in a row. I mean, there's really no arguing. You can come
Yeah.
up with, and the expectation is you don't do that and show up on time. The behavior coaching is much more difficult because people do take it personally. So when I am starting a conversation with them, when I need to address their behavior issues, I always start with that how much I care about them personally, which is why I'm doing this. Usually lay the groundwork for our relationship. That if I was doing something that offended them or that they didn't feel was appropriate, that it would also be their duty to call me out on it and have the same conversation in reverse. So showing I care personally, laying that groundwork, it makes it a little more effective, I feel,
Mhm.
versus just going in and saying, you did this wrong, you did this wrong, it's unacceptable, that's it. You got to really have a conversation with them because it's got to be two-way street. They have to give their take on it. And I always let them and encourage them to tell their side of the event, their side of the story. And a lot of times I'll have them do that first, actually, before I go into what was wrong with the situation or what the behavior
Right.
was that really wasn't appropriate.
So, tell me how much prep that takes, right?
Yes, that's a really good point. Anytime you're going to have a conversation with somebody or call them out, and it's something that could be very heated or they could really become defensive about it, I make sure that I prepare myself
Mhm.
mentally, take notes. If it's coming from other people, I write down what they've said about the incident or the events. If there's several of them that led up to this conversation, so that I do my homework, so I'm well prepared. I know what I'm going to say. I know the points I really want to make. And then definitely in that whole preparation, though, give them a lot of time to talk and to give back their feedback.
Sure. I mean, absolutely. Well, and we were talking earlier, like this could be the most important conversation of a person's career, at least the person's week, their month, their
Mhm.
life, right? And you want to make sure you prepare for it, like that you do the common courtesy to another human being to do it. And it sounds like you do care about everyone who works for you. So of course, you would do that, right? Do you have any tips? Like there's, thousands of leaders watching this video. Do you have any tips for
Well,
success?
yeah. So, I mean, just tips in your approach overall is not to be a reactive person. I have
Mhm.
been bombarded at the nurse's station many times with upset staff members, and instead of firing back at them, I just say, I'm going to have to take some time to think about that, or maybe come back to my office with me when you have a chance, or give a chance, so we can look into that further and discuss that further, because that approach is much more respected and appreciated than having the human reaction, which many times I want to, where it's
Yeah,
just like, "Here, you talk to me that way, and you're being very disrespectful," and just kind of like firing back. So that I
sure.
like situations and take them offline in an appropriate way. Also, one thing, when I first started this position, this was in 2009. I had 12 hours a week of office time and 24 hours a week as a staff nurse. So it's really built up now to full time. leadership and management. But I always avoided conflict like the plague because I wanted everybody to like me. And I took a lot of things personally. I've
Right.
learned, don't take everything personally. It's not a reflection that you're a horrible person because you upset somebody maybe with the truth.
Right.
Um, Own that. So the other part of it is I put the ownership back on them too, that I did not put them in this position. They
Yeah.
put in this position, and I am trying to help them rectify it, make it better. And so in the end, it really does end positively because you're trying to move forward. We can't be stagnant,
Right.
just be it. And I've learned a lot in my leadership and just in my interaction with everybody. And
Yeah.
one thing, your training, one thing that really stuck with me that I think of every time I'm really interacting with people is that a relationship is really built over time through a series of conversations with people. So every interaction I have with a person, I'm either building that relationship, I am diminishing it and destroying it, or maintaining it. So I always want to build, I always want to maintain what we have. And I don't want to say something that could potentially stick with them and negatively impact our relationship forever. So I'm
Right.
known as doesn't usually say things I can't take back. I'm really careful with my words.
And that's
So
from that book, Fierce Conversations. So you are fierce, Tish Wayne. My goodness. Thank you
oh,
for your story.
yeah.
Great, great work. Okay, everybody, you can have what Tish has, the tools and equipment to do direct dialogue. So go to our website, www.capstoneleadership.net, and book a call with us. We would love to talk to you.